Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Spare Change. I'm interviewing all of Albino Buffalo's Series 11 artists, get to know them a little bit better and learn a little bit more about their creative process. My name is Jeff Knight, and I am the owner and operator of Albino Buffalo. And for those of you that don't know, Albino Buffalo is a sticker art vending machine project that dispenses the work of local artists on stickers. And it's been around for about 5 years now. There are machines in Fargo and Unglued and Bruhala, Grand Forks at Half Brothers Brewing Company, and Bismarck outside of Rhythm Records. Today, I'll be chatting with artist Ali Belfiore to talk about her work and her own personal process in making art. And so, hello, Ali, and welcome to Spare Change.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, this is kind of not uncommon for us. We know each other outside of Albino Buffalo a little bit with all your help with creative mornings and hanging out at Drecker and things like that. So thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. It's been such an honor to get to be a part of Series 11. I know it's been a long time coming from working on the artwork around a year ago now.
Yeah, because you were our secret artist last series. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so satisfying to see it launch in January. So
I know, especially after such a long delay of COVID and all the things that. Yeah, it was great to see that finally happen. Yeah, so I guess, can you tell us a little bit about just kind of who you are and what you do and what kind of work you make?
yeah, so I am a graphic designer, or I illustrate all of my own artwork. And in creating all of my own artwork, I started a small business back in 2018 called Snark and Sentiment. And that just kind of put me in my element of being able to create custom illustrations about what goes on inside my head. A lot of it is very sassy, and it has a lot of heart behind it. And it was exciting to put it out into the world because the motive was just to kind of be expressive and to share what I'm feeling a lot of the time. And it seems that a lot of people around the Fargo-Moorhead area connected with it, and it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
I'm also a server for Drecker Brewing by evening, part-time. You'll usually find me slinging beers on the weekends, and I have a lot of fun there. And I've been there for over 2 years now. Patio parties have been a lot of fun, even though COVID is still a thing.
Yeah,
So you guys will have to come and see me soon.
sure, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it turns out, I guess Fargo is a little bit snarky in sentiment, I guess.
Yeah.
So this connection to your work, and I know Unglued is a big place to get your work. Where else are you selling your work now? Is it out there? Is it on the website?
So some of my work can also be found over at Game Giant, which is off of 2nd and Roberts downtown. I have more of a limited supply of stickers there, more so than anything. But otherwise, I officially launched my new website last fall.
Nice.
So rather than selling my items out of Etsy, I now have a website. It's called snarkandsentiment.com, and that's where you can find all of my creations. Local orders there are free for pickup or drop off. So be sure to ask me questions if anyone has any inquiries about that. It's been really exciting, even though things have been a little slow over the last year. So
yeah, well, rightfully so. I mean, it's been kind of a really bizarre year, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. Are you originally from Fargo, or where did you originally grow up?
I've been in Fargo long enough to where it's pretty much my home. I've been here for 9 years in August now.
Okay.
But I moved here from Minot, North Dakota.
Okay. Yeah.
For college back in 2012. So got out of the very small town life and came down to the home of the bison, and I couldn't leave.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you here. How would you kind of describe your style? I know you have a kind of illustrative style to what you do. can you talk a little bit about what inspires you, or what you like to do when you sit down at the desk with a blank sheet of paper? How does that work?
So I would probably describe my style as kind of like a modern yet traditional, if you will. A lot of my inspiration comes from the neo-traditional style from tattooing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I have a whole arm of traditional style tattoo work, and that's kind of what pushed my brand forward.
Yeah.
Although I do go in different directions, such as like very simple lettering or hand lettering and typography.
Mhm.
Typography has always been one of my favorite aspects of graphic design and illustrative work. And although I definitely wouldn't say I'm anywhere that I want to be in terms of hand lettering, um, there's definitely inspiration out there that it kind of keeps me pumped to explore it further. Some of my inspiration right now comes from Artifacts of Joy. I really love her work and her medium in the approach to using her own handwriting for a lot of her artwork. And I love her use of color in all of her designs. And that it's so it's so beautiful and it's so raw and it all makes a statement. I would say that's where I kind of draw my inspiration from as of late.
Mhm.
And I think one of the other places that I really draw inspiration from is just the unglued community that has welcomed me with open arms over the last several years.
Yeah.
Um, I used to go into their little store downtown before Snark and Sentiment became a thing, and getting to talk to Ashley Morgan and Dana, who used to work there, they all were just so kind and so inspiring, because outside of getting to work in a business and a community like that, they also found their own ways to share their creativity as well.
Mhm.
And to watch Unglued blossom into everything that it has over the last few years with summer camp and the retreats, and even Ashley being involved with you in creative mornings, it's such a nice area to be able to kind of turn to, especially when you need to feel inspired, and to know that there is this whole community full of different people with creative abilities,
Yeah.
large and small. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
mhm.
I know you've done the Unglued Craft Fest before, right? You had like your own booth and all that fun
Yes.
stuff. How has that been?
Honestly, I think I kind of blacked out during that.
Kind of a whirlwind.
I did last year's for 2020, so that was about 3.5 weeks before everything shut down with the pandemic. And um, on top of the preparations for that, I was in the middle of a major life change that left me kind of navigating a whole new area of my life,
Yeah.
and having to split my focus between self-care and making sure that I am in a mental capacity to be able to take care of it, and creating new items at a quantity that I was nowhere near prepared for. Um, it was a blast, to say the least, but I think back on that weekend of last year and I'm like, I don't even remember taking that entire booth down and loading it down the elevator, to be honest. Um, and then the pandemic hit. So it was just kind of one thing to the next. And now that I'm thinking back and reflecting on it, it's like, what would I do differently for the next one? How would that setup be? And what would it look like? And so I didn't really have a chance to think about setting up one for this year's Unglued Craft Fest. And I did get to attend as a supporter this spring for the West Acres Mall one. And it was nice to kind of be on the outside of it again, to show up and support the makers that did get to share the work that they have been creating through the pandemic. Um, I would hope that for the next one, I'd be a little bit more prepared and able to take it all in.
Yeah, it's one of those things because I did it once, but it's one of those things you really I don't know if you can prepare for it because it just kind of hits and you're like, oh wow, this is
Here we go.
here you go. Yep, exactly. And it's kind of like careful what you wish for, right? Because it's as soon as you get that success, like you mentioned, you have to kind of build up that demand then too, and find that kind of happy medium
Yeah.
of how to supply that. So yeah,
Being able to be a vendor at the Young Blue Craft Fest has always been a bucket list item of mine, and I got to check it off the list, but I'm hoping that next year will bring another opportunity to come back and to really not only nail it, but to embrace it and to really get to enjoy the chaos, the good chaos that comes of it. So
for sure. Yeah. Well, that's exciting news to hear that you're going to be coming back to it because that was my next question: is if you were going to be trying it again, or if that was kind of a one and done sort of thing. But it'll be good to see you back on there for sure.
fingers are crossed. There are some new things in the works for the middle of the summer. So
Cool.
try not to think. I'm a very live in the moment person. So to be thinking that far ahead already is a little terrifying. I'm very much the hang on to the edge of your seat type of person.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of making sure I have my ducks in a row for it this time around.
Totally. Well, if there's anything we can do to help, let us know for sure. We're
Thank
happy.
you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. You know, you mentioned the pandemic, and that's obviously a topic that I need to bring up just because I hopefully will never have to bring it up again with an interview. But how has it been? How have you been? How have things gone? And yeah.
Well, I've been hearing a lot of like, well, the pandemic didn't really change much for me, and in a way, it changed absolutely nothing and everything all at once.
Yeah.
I pretty much still worked through the entire pandemic, so I was still going into the office job I had at the time.
Yeah.
I was still going in and doing like off sale shifts and deep cleaning shifts for Drecker, and they took very, very good care of the entire staff there through the whole pandemic as a whole, and I'm very grateful for them. I think the things that changed for me through it were that it kind of reminded me to slow down a little bit in life. So needing to take time off from work and needing to make sure I get extra sleep.
Mhm.
And if you can't see it, I've taken on the hobby of having way more houseplants than I need.
Awesome.
That has been something that's really helped because it reminds me that in a way taking care of houseplants is in a way taking care of myself, because it's something that brings me a lot of joy. And I hang out with my cat a lot and read a lot of books.
Yeah.
If I have downtime right now, that's usually what you can find me doing. So
That's awesome.
it's kind of nice to have recreated an entire space, because I think we all became more accustomed with our homes and our living spaces, and to kind of make a haven for myself became the entire center of my life, of something that makes me feel inspired and makes me feel comfortable. And to be able to come home still with things kind of getting back to normal, I almost prefer being home more than out in public. So I've become a bit more of an introvert as well.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like I can empathize with that for sure. It's had that weird kind of effect on people, I think. And yeah, just the idea of, I don't know, being at home and just kind of reevaluating everything around you that you kind of take for granted. It helped to really I don't know, for me too, it helped to just kind of slow down and really almost take a new look at kind of what you were living in and what you were living with, and how you interact with that stuff. Because I think we take it for granted so often, and we just kind of breeze through life sometimes, and we just kind of keep going and keep going, and then I don't know. In some ways, I almost found it a little bit helpful where I was, where it was just like nice to just kind of take a break for a little bit and force everybody to take a break, and I think that helped too, where it didn't feel so guilty that I was taking a break, but everybody had to take a break. Everybody
Yeah.
was on
You're all taking a break too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So what would you say is your, in terms of artwork and in terms of making, what would you say is your favorite medium? What do you like to work with?
Ooh.
Or are you primarily in the digital space?
So I initially worked a lot out of Illustrator for Adobe programs. As of late, I was able to purchase a new iPad, and I began using the app that everyone's kind of crazy about right now, which is Procreate. And that has kind of really upped my illustrative game when it comes to being able to freehand things more and make a design more organic. It definitely doesn't have the same feel as sketching something out on pencil and then rendering it digitally through a scan and bringing it into Illustrator. But it definitely cuts my time in half of being able to create more.
Yeah.
I really love being able to practice with a digital pen on my hand lettering. That has been kind of one of the most enjoyable practices that I've taken on, especially over the winter. Because I made custom Christmas cards for some friends over this last year, and to be able to utilize that was challenging, but it was really, really rewarding to see the final result.
That's awesome.
So I would say more so like digital illustration. That's kind of mainly what I have worked in for the longest time. I used to do logo design and whatnot when I was still working as a full-time graphic designer for marketing agencies. And I've gotten away from that a lot more, where it's just not really it doesn't fit for me as much.
Sure.
If you will. But whether it's working with doodling on a piece of paper and a pen, or with sketch pencils on different styles of paper, I'm definitely someone who likes to draw far and long. So
yeah. So you're a big believer in sketching.
Yeah. I just love the organic feel of it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Very cool. What do you kind of foresee a little bit? I know you said you weren't really one to plan too far ahead of time, but and you don't have to give away all the secrets of where Snark and Sentiment is going, but what do you see for the future, even personally, artistically? What do you want to? Is there a new medium you want to try? Is there some new subject matter you're looking at? What do you think you want to try in the near future?
One of the goals that I've had for Snark and Sentiment was that I kind of wanted to incorporate some apparel into my product line. So, with having a very good friend who screen prints, they have been able to help me kind of figure out what exactly I'm going to need to be able to set up a design for like t-shirts or sweatshirts or things like that. And so long as the demand is there for the capacity to create something like a t-shirt, which requires multiple sizes and a lot more effort, I definitely wouldn't write off t-shirts or some level of apparel.
Yeah.
But there's going to be kind of some fun tweaks to products I already create. So things like hopefully new tote bags, new wall banners, and of course, the item I am notorious for, which is my stickers.
Yeah.
Those definitely have not been ruled out of the mix. They're one of the easiest things to acquire, and not even like 3 weeks ago, I was driving up Maine, and I ended up behind a car that had one of my stickers on the rear view window, and I was sitting there like, that's so cool. And it just kind of reminded me that, like I'm due to make some new designs, and um, the big part that goes into having these new products come to life is being able to stop procrastinating
Yeah.
and be bringing those ideas to paper.
Hmm.
And it's been really hard to be able to do that because I have so many ideas and I never know where to start.
Yep. I totally
Mm.
understand. Yeah, it's a difficult challenge. Um, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned like the seeing your own sticker thing too. I'm sure it's fun to see all that stuff out there if you know find it. And I remember the first time I saw an albino buffalo sticker, it was like on a car in the Mango's parking lot, and it was just like, what? And it just like blew my mind that someone had actually put this on their car because when my head it's just I don't know why I would assume they wouldn't, but it was just yeah, it kind of takes you by surprise, and it's just a really fun way to just see your work out there and know that people are actually paying attention to it and using it and appreciate it enough then to like put it on stuff and to have it represent a little bit of themselves and kind of help define who they are a little bit. It's kind of fun to see that.
It really is. I there was one night when I was actually working at Drecker a little while back, and someone had used the albino buffalo machine that we have sitting up front, and I guess they had pulled one of my stickers, and my manager was up front and they were talking about it and they were like, oh, it's so cool. And my manager walks up to them and goes, do you want to know something really cool? And they were like, what? They're like, that artist is right over there. So that was just a really cool feeling to kind of have my colleagues point that out too,
Yeah.
to be able to have someone go for the nostalgia of putting some quarters in a sticker machine, which was what I did all the time as a kid, and to be able to feel like, oh, the artist for this is in this building.
Yeah.
um it's a really weird feeling, but at the end of the day, it's like I hope that that is some artwork that they connect with and that they really really enjoy, and seek out more things down the road, whether it's my art or another one of the series 11 artists. So
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I've definitely gotten a lot of comments from this series and your work specifically too. So keep that up. Yeah, it kind of makes me think now I should like almost have a little like sign or something by the Drecker one, say like, get your autograph behind the bar. Allie, she'll sign your sticker for you.
oh no.
um, no, that's awesome though that the people are engaging with it still and recognizing the importance of that and recognizing the importance of local art and artists, and that's kind of the whole point of the project. So that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I guess where can we encounter more of your work? I know you mentioned the website, so snarkandsentiment.com. Where else do you post work? I know you're on Instagram. Do you want to kind of give a shout out of where people can kind of follow along, especially if you are coming back with some new stuff? Where can they see that?
So I'm probably most active on my Instagram, although I haven't posted since December.
Okay.
Yeah, that is probably one of the most frequent places I post, as well as I try to share those same posts on Facebook as well. My Instagram handle is Snark and Sentiment Shop, and there is a link to my website in the bio for that. So even though there isn't anything new yet, I will be posting an update soon, and you can still get all of my original artwork that has been created since the beginning at my website. So there's still some really cool stuff on there, whether you're a book lover or someone who loves quirky Midwest sayings, which is kind of a hot commodity right now.
Yeah.
There's kind of a mix of everything for everyone on the website, and there is so much more of that to come. And there's going to be a lot more that I hope will continue to resonate with the customer base and people who appreciate feelings. Because that's kind of what's in the works right now, is that I think the human condition is one that creates some of the most beautiful and original artwork, and I'm really excited to share what's coming.
That's awesome. Very well said. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, as you know, my business is called Cereal because I love cereal. But I always ask this question at the end of our interview, kind of, what is your favorite cereal? And you have kind of a story that goes with that.
Oh no, there's too many. One of my favorite cereals my whole life, and I still come back to it time to time, is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is about it, whether it is crunchy or soggy. It's perfection. One of my favorite things lately is to I kind of started going dairy free over the last couple of years, and so I use almond milk for my cereal.
Yeah.
And to have like a cinnamony almond milk is one of the best things to drink up when you have an empty bowl of cereal. There's just something about it.
Yeah, I'll have to try that sometime, because that sounds really good.
Don't let was it the Cinnamon Toast Crunch that had the big calamity of shrimp being found in it or something?
Oh yeah, I think there was. Yeah, something like that, right?
Whenever I tell people that I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they go, what about that whole situation? I'm like, I don't know, I'll still eat it.
Was it a big situation, or was it like one thing that happened to like one person?
I think it was one incident.
Yeah.
And it blew up.
I have to research that and do a little digging on the specifics of that.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, and for hanging out with us a little bit. And love seeing your work, love seeing stuff come out. Really excited for new stuff to come out too, and after this whole pandemic thing, to actually see you in person again and come here and hang out a little bit again. So
yes,
it'll be fun.
Thank you for featuring me in this series. It is such an honor. It was really fun to get to create something that was a lot more out of my element, and that people are really interacting with and engaging with. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. For everybody that's watching, make sure that you are looking at Allie's work on at Snark and Sentiment on Instagram, or snarkandsentiment.com on her website. And make sure to kind of follow along and check out her new work as it comes out. Order some merch too while you're at it. Thanks everybody for tuning in and supporting local art and the artists that make it. My name is Jeff Knight with Albino Buffalo, and be sure to visit us on Instagram, Facebook, website, albino-buffalo.com to check out all the Series 11 announcements and fun posts and all that stuff that we have. And, yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.